how long you were telling me your mom was dead and pretending to be from Australia. Hello, good morning, BBs.
Good morning, BBs. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And oh my stars and garters, Saige.
What?
You had a little premiere this weekend.
I did.
You had a little premiere.
We had a little premiere right here on Twitch.
Bit of a little premiere.
It was like a preview of the first episode. It was the full first episode that we played, but there's no VOD up on the Twitch channel because, you know, you got to make the people wait a little bit. If you were there for the special eventized premiere, that's awesome. Thank you for being there. And if you weren't, you'll be able to catch the full episode of Sunday Spy Club next Sunday. I got to be spy.
I think it's a very cool show.
Thank you.
I think it's a very cool show. If y'all didn't catch it, you definitely want to catch it when it premieres on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a good cast.
A wonderful cast. A fantastic and beautiful and wonderful cast.
Yeah.
I love these women so much. It's very neat. For those who are not familiar, it's a little D&D show. If you're watching on YouTube later, it's on our other channel. You probably know the one. You probably came from that one.
You probably came from that one. Listen,
originally.
People in the live studio audience who were there said it was amazing. Said it was very cool. Such a great premiere.
Thank you all very much.
They also said, hey, look at that sponsor.
Oh, wow. Oh, hey, this episode is sponsored by Factor. Y'all know we've done a Factor ad before because it means we get food.
That's right.
What a great deal.
Let me tell you, hey, have you tried cooking? If so, why?
Knock it off.
Quit it.
We'll get into a full thing about it later, but Factor is a meal service that brings all of the good things that you need right to your door and makes them super, super fast. Later on in the show, we're going to go through and we're going to order our box and we're going to pick out our meals for it. Last time we had a good 9 a.m. lasagna.
We were garfing.
We'll see if we can find something to match that energy.
Can you
on the menu?
Anyone match the Garf's energy?
Is Factor going to match our freak?
Can they do it?
Is somebody going to match our freak?
You may be wondering what meal delivery service
can match my
freak.
And it's Factor. It's going to be Factor. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we got some other stuff that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking a bit about the new Zelda. We're going to be talking a bit about a very well compiled and data mined list of the greatest games of all time. I'm interested in this list, but also in the data gathering process for this list.
Okay.
We've got some boo Elon Musk. We've got some Comic-Con. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
And we've got a good amount of stuff from internet people to catch you up on.
Yo.
I've got updates on the Brooke Schofield Clinton Kane that I caught Anthony up on last week. We've got, unfortunately, to talk about Cody Ko.
Ugh.
But most importantly.
Yeah.
Alex is back. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Alex.
Welcome back. How was your trip?
Yes.
Your mic seems kind of quiet, or maybe muted. Coming in at weird times.
Do you know what it is? Look down on the audio mixer right there.
That's our mic.
When I talk, what's happening?
All right. Well, hold on.
Right
Double
back.
of our mic. None of Alex's mic. Yeah. Double us, none Alex.
Yeah.
We'll give him a moment to figure that out.
Yeah. While you do, I want to talk about, last week you caught me up on some internet stuff.
Yeah.
And while you did, I said, you were talking about this podcast, and I said,
the canceled podcast.
Yeah, we're talking about the canceled podcast, Tana Mojo's podcast.
Yeah.
And while you were talking about it, I was like, I keep getting clips on TikTok of this podcast called Dropouts.
And I didn't know what that was.
No, neither did I. It just kept showing up. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I feel as though this podcast was dropped into my lap at exactly the appropriate time.
Oh, interesting.
Because some stuff went down with this podcast. And I have to tell you about it. So first of all, this is a podcast that is hosted by, the main host is Zach Justice.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of him. He's apparently a comic here in LA.
Okay.
Co-host is his friend Jared, and then the third co-host, basically the main co-host, is Tara Yummy.
Okay. This is one I've heard of because she does good eyeliner. Mostly.
So, Tara Yummy, I had never heard of any of these people.
Yeah.
And I started getting served clips of this podcast.
She's got a like fun, sleazy Y2K thing.
She does.
Like she's bringing back the like Kesha messy look.
Yes.
It's great.
It was like, hey, do you miss websites like Last Night's Party or The Cobra Snake?
Yeah.
If so, you might like Tara Yummy.
Yeah.
All right.
But why are we talking about it?
Well, let me show you the vibes of this podcast first. And when I show you the vibes of this podcast, I don't know why I was being served clips of this podcast because this is not my vibe at all.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready? I'm going to show this to you.
Okay. Why am I nervous?
Because it's going to be bad.
Okay.
It's not terrible, but
yeah,
yes.
Definitely.
Before I open it?
Yeah. Whenever I call Zach on the phone, when I hang up,
Oh no.
Why?
Rip.
I want to explain to you why I got you that
Okay,
one.
so that's
Before
Tara
I
Yummy.
open it?
Yeah.
You know her.
Whenever I call Zach on the phone, when I hang up, I say, love you. And he's like, ugh. And he gets so mad at me and he's never said it back.
Because I
Okay.
don't feel it.
Well,
Zach.
This is his vibe.
Real men don't say I love you to your friends.
He's like weird asshole with heart of gold,
Shirt?
right? Like
heart of
that's
gold?
Well, because at the end you'll
get
see.
a custom-made shirt.
saying that Zach loves me.
Okay.
It's cool. Thank you.
So
It says for you.
Very romantic so far.
Thank you. I
His-
just thought
his
this
gift
is
to her-
Returning a
honestly
gift to her as
weird.
well.
turns out
You know,
to
most
be
find this really offensive.
like an incredible
But
gift,
I take it
right?
as a compliment. It says yapper.
But this is his thing. He only makes fun.
What is it?
It's a necklace that says
Wait, that's
yapper.
really
Cute?
sweet,
Okay.
Zach. I'm going to cry.
Feel free.
That's
This is
so
thoughtful.
sweet.
But you know,
Because
she's
know
like,
I
I'm gonna
love
cry. He's like,
talking.
feel free.
No.
Like, I don't know. Like maybe I just got you the perfect gift. I don't know. Like,
Weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
His whole vibe is kind of like that. He also like he'll show up. She has a fear of the Grinch. So he showed up for the Christmas episode dressed as the Grinch.
Are you actually scared of me?
Like he had makeup done.
Please, Zach, actually stop. Actually
Okay.
stop. Actually stop. Zach. No. Please stop.
The
Hello.
little diner set's cute.
It's cute.
Okay.
But the whole vibe of this podcast is this guy's a jerk. She's a pick me. They argue, will they, won't they? Which is such a vibe that why would you show me this?
Yeah.
Very,
why are you getting that podcast? And I remember the comments on that YouTube video being like, I get served these clips all the time. I've never gotten a single clip from this podcast personally.
Immediately people are like kind of dismissive of these feelings,
Yeah.
Of her feelings. I really dislike this guy. Just what we need more of in America, jerks. So this is the whole thing.
Right,
I was
right.
like, these are just horrible people. This is like this horrible guy, this pick me girl.
Wait, why is she? Okay, wait, hold on. But
Every clip
I won't let you
they
get away
share.
with just calling
No.
someone to pick me without explaining.
No. I will say every clip that they choose to put forward has him being a jerk and her doing things like, oh, but you really love me. Like, oh my God, but my hands are so small compared to yours. Like that kind of thing.
Okay, all right.
Like it's very, they show, because here's what's going on. I'm seeing these clips and I'm like, I hate this. I hate these
Yeah,
people. Why am I being shown these? It turns out that Tara Yummy is the second co-host of this show.
Okay.
The first one was replaced.
Okay.
The first one was a woman named Indiana Massara.
Okay. Don't know him.
This is Indiana Massara. She's a model. She's
Damn.
an influencer. Yeah, she's great.
Wow.
She
She's so
and
pretty.
yeah, she and Zach used to be together. They started the podcast when they were a couple. When they
Okay.
broke up, she left the podcast.
So he fumbled it.
He fumbled it. Well, but also when they started dating,
Okay.
she was 18
Oh.
and he was 24. Okay, so already you're like,
I don't like it.
well, what if I told you
Mm-hmm.
he's known her since she was 14?
Oh, I like it a lot less.
Lived with her,
Oh, I like it even less.
worked with her mom,
No.
for her mom,
No.
and was very much like, when they used to post, it was very much, she would post like, oh God, it's my brother, gross.
They clueless?
And they clueless, and
They did a clueless?
they did a clueless, but without the charm. And
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. If you go back and watch it, that part is not charming.
no, but even in Clueless, they did a good job of being like, he doesn't really live with them. They don't
Yeah.
really know each other that way.
Sure.
They tried to make it as cool because they were like, we're trying to make this cool and stick to the Shakespeare of it.
Yeah.
This was just like, this dude lives with me and he's inappropriate. There are clips of him like doing like mukbangs with her and her friends. He's like 20. They're like 14, 15. He's making inappropriate comments. They're talking about what kind of guys they like, and they're like, oh, I like tall guys. And he like sits up really straight and like all this weird shit. All of this weird shit, right?
Okay. Stepbrother mukbangs?
Stepbrother mukbangs. Oh, stepbrother, I'm stuck in the boneless wings. Help, stepbrother.
Okay.
I can't get my hand out of the popcorn chicken bucket.
Okay.
So they bring on, they break up, right? A couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
Tara comes on, and this kind of gets brushed aside. Like people in the Dropouts
People
community
moved on.
don't really talk about it or whatever. Our problematic, sometimes fave,
Uh-huh.
Trisha Paytas,
Okay.
on her podcast,
Uh-huh.
begins talking about Zach Justice.
Let's go!
A couple weeks ago, Trisha said, nah, you don't get away with
Hey,
this.
let me tell you one thing about Trisha Paytas, everybody. Let me tell you one thing about Trisha Paytas. From the beginning of Trisha Paytas's career, all of her many horrible things she's done, she has always been like, but what we don't do is fuck around when it comes to minors.
Nope.
What we don't do is let a minor in the building.
Yeah.
What we don't do is let a teenage girl be hanging out with these adults. We've seen it
Absolutely
for
not.
Tana and Jason Nash. We've seen it on multiple occasions, her be like, oh, no.
You don't do this.
This one is where I will absolutely
Yeah.
stand up.
Hey, I have a feeling, in my moments of lucidity, I
Yeah.
know this is what fucked me up.
Yep.
And so we don't let this fuck
We
up
do
other
not
people.
let this happen.
So Trisha starts sharing it. People on TikTok start sharing it. All of this stuff starts coming out again.
I hate how good her podcast is.
It's so good.
I'm
In
so
this
sorry.
particular episode, she was an all pink
She did a pink
Statue
version
of Liberty.
She did a pink version of Chapel Roan Statue
Yeah.
of Liberty.
Yes.
That's why. Because
Yes.
it's not just Statue of Liberty.
No. It's the Miss Piggy Chapel Roan Statue
That's
of
what
Liberty.
she called it, to be clear. We are not calling her Miss Piggy. That is what she called it.
No, it's the Chapel Roan keeps stealing Miss Piggy's
Yeah, yeah.
costumes meme.
Right.
Yeah. But so this comes out, all of this stuff starts going down, and people start sharing like horrible things that Zach Justice has said and done in the past.
Ooh.
Remember, guys, today is a great day to prey on women with daddy issues. They're vulnerable. Let's feast. He's this kind of comic.
Comic?
That's what they call themselves.
A bold choice.
That's what they call
A
themselves.
bold choice.
He starts flipping out, right? And he starts DMing the main TikToker who is sharing this stuff
Okay.
and starts saying, like, this is one of the screen caps that she shared.
Uh-huh.
Call me this evening. If I'm on a flight and can't answer, we can try tomorrow. The behind the scenes of the things you talk about is beyond what you can think. You can hate my dark jokes, totally fine. That comes with trying to make edgy jokes. But insinuating I would or have done anything so vile is damaging to real victims.
My victims aren't real victims.
No. Indiana will also talk to you as well if you'd like. Now, Indiana, for her part, has been saying, no, there was no grooming. But we know that in these situations, young people don't always know when they've been groomed.
Yeah.
Young people will normalize their youth.
At the end of the day, when a crime is committed, it actually doesn't always come down to whether or not the victim feels victimized.
Yeah, if you take my wallet and I didn't like that wallet anyway,
Right.
you still stole my wallet.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a crime.
Yeah.
So the woman who was making these TikToks responds, are you saying you didn't know her at 14, 15, 16? Because that's my point. That in and of itself is the issue.
Yeah.
The fact that I stated that you dated a girl you knew as a child while you were an adult, this is like public information.
So what's the defense?
What's up?
What's to dispute?
What's up? There have been things, and we're going to be talking about one later in this episode, where women will say, or victims
Yeah.
will say, I didn't think it was at the time,
Yeah.
but now 10 years later, 15 years later,
Yes.
I've realized how this has really messed me up in ways.
Yes. Hi. When I was 18 years old, freshly 18 years old, started dating a man who was 27 years old.
Mhm.
And at the time, I would have said, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I don't know what you're talking about. This is great and awesome for me. And as a now 28-year-old woman, I can look back and go, that was not awesome for me.
Yeah. So this is all very, very, now, Tara, last week, after all this stuff starts becoming more and more popular and starts coming out, Tara posts this video, I left Dropouts.
Okay.
She hasn't been on the last couple episodes.
Okay.
People were like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
They really build up. The whole show is built around this will they, won't they?
Okay.
Right? Which is not,
Yeah.
it's entirely manufactured.
Oh, 100%.
And when you're watching it, you can tell it's entirely manufactured and that it's
Yeah.
mostly manufactured by Zach Justice.
Right.
And she is going along with it because that is her job on the podcast.
Yeah.
She basically comes out and says, I left the podcast. Doesn't talk about the Indiana stuff, doesn't talk about it, but just says like, hey, this podcast was being part of a podcast is about sharing more of yourself than I was willing to share, particularly these personality-based podcasts.
Okay.
She's like, I didn't want to be this vulnerable. I didn't want to come out and like say these. And when she was saying this, you can hear the subtext of what she's saying. And I thought back on all the clips that they shared and all the stuff. And this is me, like I said, this is subtext and this is my reading of it.
Yeah.
But she was very much forced into these moments of being the pick-me girl. She was put on a defensive about a lot of things in her life. They would always, I thought one of the things that was generally like part of her main personality was like, they would always talk about how she went out partying, who'd she go home with, like all this stuff. And it seemed like that's just part of her thing.
Yeah.
I went to her YouTube channel and I looked at it.
It's not like that.
Her YouTube channel is a very like, I would say, cool. She's very cool, but like a very kind of standard personality based, like a lot of get ready with me, a lot of like, I'm going on this trip, a lot of let's talk about my anxiety or my hypochondria.
So that's why I was so surprised when you were like, and a pick me girl. I was like, I get Tara's TikToks.
Yeah.
And like, she just seems like a girl. Like, that's it. She seems like a young woman. And I've never gotten a TikTok from her on her account that was her acting in that way.
No,
I just
watched her
get TikToks
stuff.
of her like, I just get TikToks of her like doing her makeup and being cute and lip syncing.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
sometimes she posts like, oh, we went to a party. We went on, she has like two friends, like these two punk friends. They're like
she's
three punk party
cool
kids.
girl.
Yeah, she's cool. And they go out and they party and they do stuff, but it's it's not about that.
Right.
And one of the things that I think was constantly coming up was like, what are you doing with these two guys if you're so close with these two guys? And the answer is like, nothing, right? The answer is I'm friends with these two guys and we do a lot of content together.
Yeah.
But because of this dude, Zach Justice, being the kind of person that he is, he kept trying to turn it into something like, oh, Tara went home with this guy again. And it's like, I crashed at my friend's place.
Right.
And he would always be like, well, did you sleep in their bed? What did you do? What happened? And it's like, dude, this is like on mic.
Yeah.
Are you sure that yet? And like, there were different things where like, I remember there was a clip where she's clearly closer friends, like feels like she can share more with the other guy, Jared, who seems much more chill.
Okay.
He's like the guy who shows up to the party with the guy who roofies people, but doesn't really know the roofying is happening. He doesn't really know.
Yeah, you don't
doesn't really know. It's just like, I don't know. He's always been cool to me.
Jail both of them.
Yeah. But comes off like the chiller, sweeter, nicer boy.
Yeah.
And there was one clip that they shared where it's like, Tara, like Zach was like, Tara, I came in today and you were showing your whole crotch to Jared. Like, what was that about? Like, Tara. And she's like, I literally got like a chemical peel, or like a chemical wax. And like, I think I have an infection and I was showing it to my friend because I'm worried about it.
And
it's
whatever.
like, and she goes, and why are you like, don't air this out on camera. He's like, you were airing it out in front of everybody. Womp and a womp, womp, womp.
Yep.
And it's like, okay.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is, when you look at the number of followers and everything, she was the big name. She's
the only one I'd heard of.
They have more followers now.
Right.
And the podcast was always doing fairly well,
Yeah.
but none of these things do as well as she does. She has like 2 mil on YouTube, 2.5 mil on Instagram, 1 mil on TikTok, more than they have on anything. But she was put in this position, I think, where it was like, we're bringing you in and we're paying you to be the co-host.
Yeah.
We're here, you're here.
Oh, yeah.
And she was put into like very weird position. And so I think this was probably just like the final straw for her.
It's really devastating that this is just still happening. And it's very interesting because like I've talked about it a lot of like the first show I ever hosted, I was brought in and I was told something very comparable. And specifically, I was told by the male co-host, the male host of the show, like, oh no, we have to create a will they, won't they. Like the fans love it. They need to always wonder if we're hooking up or going to date or something like that.
No, they don't.
And asked me to delete any photos of anyone that I was dating off of my Instagram.
Nope.
So that people could speculate and would continue to make little like, oh, okay. Like nudge, nudge, wink, wink, little comments and remarks. And that was like a fundamental part of how they built their show with all of the femme co-hosts.
And here's the thing, you don't need to build that. No. You don't. That's not a part of a thing that needs to be.
No.
I think about, so I always say like, if you're co-hosting something with somebody, you are best friends.
Yeah.
You are best friends. Always like, and listen, Saige and I are actually, we're actually
just like best friends.
We're actually just best friends.
We're just best friends.
But anybody that I host with, I'm just like, we are best friends.
I was best friends.
I did like a TV show with 2 people that had like not done a lot of hosting before.
Yeah.
And I looked at them and I said, hey, we were doing upfronts. And I looked at them and I said, no matter what anybody says on stage today, you take it the best way it can be took. You think, how is that actually a positive?
Yeah.
We are best friends. We have always been best friends.
Yeah.
We always will be best friends.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If somebody says something and you're like, I don't know about, you know about it and it's positive and it's cool.
Sure.
And we will all try to be as positive and cool and we will be best friends. And if you do that, people will pick up on, people will do whatever.
Yeah.
One of the things that I remember is back in ancient times.
Way back when. The beginning of the internet?
There was a show called, before. There was a show called Live with Regis and Kathy Lee.
Okay.
Kelly Ripa.
Yeah, I know Regis and Kelly.
You know Regis and Kelly.
And now Kelly and Riverdale guy.
And and Kathy Lee is like on the Today Show, or was on the Today Show, like the weird hour that they always made fun of with the 2 women drinking wine.
Yeah. Mark Consuelo?
Yeah, there you go. So one of the things that I heard like back in the day is they never made it seem like they were in a relationship. They never made it seem like they were anything more than co-hosts and friends who had been hosting this show together.
Yeah.
They were both married and would talk about their partners on the show sometimes. But people would always see Regis or Kathy Lee on the street and be like, hey, I really love what you guys do. Please give my love to your wife, Kathy Lee. Please give my love to your husband, Regis. Okay. Because I love the 2 of you, like blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And they would never correct those people. They'd be like, oh, thank you very much.
Because whatever.
And also like, if your vibe is good, people are going to put whatever relationship they want onto that vibe. Yeah. Like, look at this beautiful couple. They've been together forever.
Sure.
Trying to force that, and particularly in the way that like this podcast tried to force it, this will they, won't they, like, I'm too cool, but like, I could soften up for her. Like,
no. What it is I have to pay women to give me attention.
Yes, that's what it is.
I have to pay a woman to sit next to me every week. It was your turn. It was your turn. Dyspraxia. It's called dyspraxia, and it's very common for neurodivergent people. Just learned it.
Yeah, so Tara left.
Great.
Zach Justice is trying to squash this shit like crazy.
Okay.
And it's so funny because when you look at the Dropouts like subreddit and all this stuff, people are like, oh, what's going to happen to the podcast now? And like blah, blah, blah. But more people are like, I sort of came here for Tara.
Yeah, obviously.
I sort of came here for Tara.
Yeah, what? You wanted 2 bland white men on a podcast?
Yeah.
You've got a selection.
Yeah, you can do whatever.
If you wanted to listen to 2 boring white guys on a podcast, boy, do I have any podcast for you.
www.wehaveconcerns.com.
There you go.
But then I look into the guests, and you're absolutely right. Every time you would have a woman on, and you'd have a lot of actors and comics on, a lot of women who are in the industry, and he would always try to do that stuff with them, where it was just like, well, are we gonna flirt? Like, are we gonna? And it was just ugh. And a few weeks ago, they had Indiana come on as a guest.
Okay.
While Tara was there.
Okay.
And Indiana didn't try to make it weird. It was just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that they orchestrated it to be weird for the women.
Cool.
And I feel like that's when everybody was like, we gotta crush this right now. And that's when people started being like, hey, you remember that she was 14, right?
Hey, do you remember?
Do you remember?
Because Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, we all remember. Trisha Paytas remembers.
Trisha Paytas remembers.
Trisha Paytas can't remember her own social security number, I'm sure, half the time, but she will remember any wrong that has been done.
And shout out for that, dude. And truly shout out for that. Well, let's stay in the mud.
Let's stay in the mud. Let's roll around.
We've got a
in
couple of things. I was gonna go to updating you on our TikTok thing from last week. We're going to skip over that for now. We can come back to it because we're two in a place right now.
We're two in a place.
We're going to move on to another creep exposed by a YouTuber. Huge shout out to D'Angelo Wallace for doing a in-depth expose on Cody Ko.
Now listen, first let's do two things here. Mm-hmm. Number one, I feel like there are two people that come out of hibernation once every 3 to 6 months, and you do not want your name in their mouths.
No, you don't want to miss it.
That is D'Angelo Wallace and H-Bomber Guy.
Yeah.
If those two are making a video about you, you can walk away.
You can walk into the ocean.
Yeah, you can walk. When I say walk away, I mean walk away from life and reality and the universe.
Especially the internet.
You can just, you're
Time's
done.
Up. Time's up, champ.
Yeah, simply jump into a well because it's over.
D'Angelo Wallace is a fantastic commentary YouTuber that does a range of topics and decided to pick up on something that he felt like was out there but not being talked about and needed somebody to just kind of bring the information together, speak from inside the community.
Yes.
And just kind of bring it to mainstream attention because it had kept being slid by, even though the information was out there.
Yeah, there are certain things that go through a reality distortion field. Yeah, is what it's called when is what it's kind of called in the press and in the industry when people just let go of a thing like it's normal because it's been there.
Yes.
Cody Ko, if you are not aware, is considered one of the key players, one of the key people who started this commentary movement on YouTube.
Yep.
Cody Ko's channel has
currently 6 million subscribers.
6 million subs. His top videos have 35 million views, 30 million views. If you show, I've got a screenshot on my channel here, and you can see what the kind of stuff this stuff is his most popular videos. So this is from 6 years ago when he was really blowing up the commentary thing, making it happen. Yeah. And his famous thing was you'll see all of these things are called That's Cringe. And it's basically him looking at clips from the internet with his friend Noel and giving commentary. He kind of blazed the trail for it.
Yeah.
Now this is one of those things that people always say when bad things come out, but literally, I've never been a Cody Ko guy.
Yeah. If you're somebody who enjoys people like Danny Gonzalez, Curtis Connor, and you wanted them but douchier, you would watch Cody Ko.
Yeah, if you're
if you didn't like that they made you feel a little bit safe and comfortable, you'd go over to Cody Ko's channel.
Why isn't couldn't this person be more of a bro about how they're making fun of things?
One of the things that actually came across my feed recently as somebody who doesn't watch Cody Ko was he was also doing videos about MILF Manor. And obviously we have a whole podcast that was recapping the season of MILF Manor. And in speaking to the cast, they were talking about how mean this guy was to them in his commentary videos.
Well, that's his thing. When you look at his commentary videos, they are mean.
Yes.
Somebody is victim.
Yes.
And other commentary channels also do that. But when you watch it, they kind of back it up. When you watch somebody like a Curtis Connor, or somebody brought up a Chad or somebody like that, where it's these are commentary YouTubers who are yes, this is funny and weird, but I'm also going to dig into the why it is not great and the actual knowledge and information and the reality behind this. Why it is detrimental, why it is dangerous, why it is a scam or whatever. He's just basically like, bro, check that out.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what he does.
Yeah.
He's like, these guys suck. And you're like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, they do. You know who else sucks is fucking Cody Ko.
Now, the reason we're talking about Cody Ko today is not just because he makes mediocre content.
No.
It is because a apparently kind of well-known secret across the internet and the industry is that he hooked up with Tana Mongeau when Tana Mongeau was 17 years old. And because this has to bring together all of the messiest people on the internet, was fully aware and told by none other than Gabby Hanna. Now, if you're not in, we're not going to get into Gabby Hanna because we literally don't have the time. If you're not
We've
in
done
this,
it before.
We have.
We have.
Yeah. But if you're not in it, I'm sorry for the news today.
Yeah,
There
Gabby
was
Hanna.
a big world event happened, and all of the video game outlets decided that they didn't want to do video game news.
We're not doing it.
So it's all internet news.
So Gabby Hanna, apparently this was at like she said just some party when Tana was 17, saw Cody making out with Tana, walked over and said, hey man,
you probably
don't know this. I know she looks a little older, but she is 17. And he was apparently like, oh, dude, thanks for letting me know. Thanks for letting me know. Took her home that night. And slept with her.
Now, Tana has talked about this in the past, and not even as like a big expose, just on a like, hey, this happened. That probably wasn't good.
She's brought it up a few times on Canceled, and particularly recently, as she brings it up more and more, she's like, no, this really messed me up. This really messed me up. And one of the reasons why this reality distortion field exists, there are two reasons, two big ones. The first one is Tana Mongeau is one of those people on the internet that's known for being a mess. Whoops, she's a mess. Whoops, who knows what she's going to say or do next, like blah, 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 whatever. And so nobody takes what she says when she says, this hurt me, seriously, because she gets a lot of, well, you're kind of a mess, which is not okay to do to people.
Obviously. The thing is, she was 17 and he was 24 years old, and people are doing just the reskinned version of saying, well, how was she dressed, right?
Well,
like it really is just kind of the exact same argument of like, well, she dressed like this, she looked older, she blah, 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 blah.
It literally is
It's all victim blaming and none of it's going to fly.
She did an interview with Rolling Stone 3 weeks ago where she said specifically in the article, she was like, no, this messed me up and I didn't realize how badly it messed me up. She is another person where she got out of her house. She got emancipated, I believe. Like she started posting things when she was like 16, 17.
She was younger than that. She was like 14 or 15 when she started on YouTube.
I was in a video with her when she was 17. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool that you're allowed to, because we were doing like a night shoot. And I was like, that's cool that you're allowed to like come out and kind of do this stuff. And like your parents, she's like, oh no, my parents are not in the picture. She like pointed to her manager. She's like, that's who's here with me.
Tana Mongeau is another person that Trisha Paytas at the time threw down for, went out, was still in a relationship with Jason Nash and made a video that was like, hey, these guys are being creepy towards Tana Mongeau and I won't stand for it. They keep trying to bring her over to parties at my house and I keep saying, no, we aren't letting this teenager in, and having to be like, this isn't about Tana. And everybody was like, oh, Trisha hates Tana, Trisha what? And it's like, no, she's a teenager.
She's a teenager and you are 3 months away from having an expose about you about basically roofing women. So like she was trying to be protective. When Tana gave this interview, like Rolling Stone made a headline about it, people just didn't pick up on it because the people who would read that Rolling Stone article and take it seriously are not the same people that are watching all of this YouTube stuff. And that's the second part of this reality distortion field is Cody Ko is a big deal. He's the guy who started commentary. He's the bro. He's a huge channel. You don't want Cody Ko to hate you. You want Cody Ko to love you. So we're just not going to say anything about this.
So nobody touched it.
And Tana did say, she was like, that was part of it, is like, he was like a hero to me.
She also did specifically say that she was a fan.
She was a fan. He was like a hero to me. Of course I did this. I didn't understand like what the power imbalance at the time. All of this stuff. And so it finally took D'Angelo Wallace to come out and be like, hey, why am I the first commentary YouTuber to talk about this? when it's a real thing and we know it's a real thing.
He was just like, why y'all so scared of Cody Ko? And we love D'Angelo for that.
Absolutely amazing video, short video. D'Angelo is known for making like hour-long videos. I think the last video he made was like a 2.5 hour video about like Caroline Calloway, which
was really great.
It was really good.
Yeah.
But he's one of those people where like he used to do a video every week and then he was like, I'm killing myself and I hate this.
Yeah.
And now he comes out of hiding every 3 to 6 months and just crushes.
Yeah.
This is an 11-minute video where he talks about it. He lays out all of the proof, shows the receipts, and says, why are we not talking about this?
Now, Gabby Hanna's kind of involvement in this, there is an interview with her where she doesn't name any names, but literally recounts the exact same story that Tana does months before this Rolling Stone article. Without naming names, I think that is the most damning piece of evidence, honestly, that like you could have there, is that she's like, I was at a party, I see this guy, he's a YouTuber making out with this girl.
Yeah.
I approach him, I say, hey, you probably don't know, whatever. And like, nobody got anything from that too. So you know what I mean? There's always that thing of like, oh, they want clout, whatever. Like nobody's getting anything from this. People have also acknowledged that like Tana, even in talking about it on the Canceled podcast, has not once used his name or his face in a thumbnail or title.
No.
Because it's not about that. It's about what happened.
Yeah. Now, Woo Bear in the live studio audience says, I had no idea there's no comments or anything on his YouTube. That is the main thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Cody Ko has been erasing comments on his YouTube, on his subreddit. He has people doing it on Instagram now. He wasn't doing it on Instagram initially, and they were getting through, and so he started doing it.
Yep.
I found some stuff on LA Influencer Snark, which, let me tell you something, over the last couple of weeks with all this stuff happening, has been a very valuable subreddit. I'm never going to join it.
Sure.
But it's certainly been helpful.
Yeah.
People were in the LA Influencer Snark subreddit saying like, hey, I just got banned from Cody Ko's subreddit for just asking him to respond to these allegations.
Yeah.
He is scrubbing his comments so much. You know who does not have a team to scrub their comments? His wife. His wife is a bit of a public figure.
Okay.
They've been married for a few years. Her name is Kelsey, and she has like about 1 million followers on every platform. They apparently put all the money into Cody's platforms because she does not have moderation like that on hers. Yeah. And all of the hate is going to Kelsey.
That's so wild.
All of the hate is going to Kelsey. Oh my God, Kelsey, how could you like
be with a man?
How could you be with a man who didn't do this? Oh my gosh, who would have guessed that Kelsey wasn't a girl's girl? Hey, the partner doesn't always know.
No.
And it's not the partner's job to publicly respond.
Stop making it women's problem when men are bad.
They're getting anything about it taken down on TikTok. I've heard that they've started doing some DMCAs.
Yeah. I will say now, his comments on his most recent video, it's probably just getting too overwhelming at this point, because if you sort by newest first, there are hundreds and hundreds of comments calling him out. But those are all in the last like hour. Now, so they're probably just not able to keep up with how much it is.
Now, there have been some other things that that Cody Ko has been kind of brought, he's kind of been dragged a tiny bit for, but unfortunately, like none of this stuff, he's very good at suppressing. He has a lot of old vines and old content where he is just N-word hard R.
Jesus.
And he apologized, but he apologized on his Patreon.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't paywall an apology.
He apologized on his Patreon. Might have been a free post on his Patreon. I don't know. But
you're drawing people to your Patreon, and you don't want it to come up when people search you.
Exactly.
Because it's about more than paying for it. It is about it not coming up when people search you, but being able to say you did it.
Because he knows that the only people that are going to care are the people that already know who he is.
Yep.
And so he can apologize to those people on his Patreon. If you apologize publicly and people don't know who you YouTube loves to surface an apology video.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the first time I've heard of people is when an apology video shows up from that person. And I'm like, oh, you're a bad person. Don't recommend channel.
Right. Wow.
So that is the Cody Ko stuff. And I think, you know, when we're talking about like we're talking about the Cody Ko stuff, the Trish, the Tana Mojo stuff, the Trisha stuff, all of this stuff, the Gabby Hanna stuff, where it's like, hey, we also have to be good to and protect messy people.
Yep.
We have to be, just because you don't, it's all the perfect victim stuff.
Yep.
There is no perfect victim.
Right.
Someone
being unlikable to you does not make them less likely to be victimized.
Yeah, you can't.
Not how it works.
Yeah, you cannot not care because you don't like the person.
Nope.
People still have to be held accountable. Sometimes you might like the person who stole the wallet.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. They
still stole a wallet.
And you should like them less now.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, I thought they were cool, but it turns out they're just stealing wallets?
Yeah, and now that I know this information, I should adjust my opinion of them.
Yeah, but no, a lot of times people don't do that because I think a lot of times you can suppress this stuff. And what we're seeing now is because, okay, there are a lot of things that are known secrets, and there are, like we're saying, power discrepancies, reality distortion fields, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And usually what it takes is one person with enough clout or enough standing to say something.
Right.
Once D'Angelo said something, other YouTubers who were around at the time immediately started going, yeah, that's true. We should talk about it.
Yeah. Because now it's safe for them to do so.
Right.
Because D'Angelo Wallace had to put himself on the line for it first.
I remember, you know, like one of the biggest examples of this is like the Max Landis stuff.
Yep.
Max Landis was a known thing in Hollywood for a very long time.
Yep.
And it literally took Anna Akana being like, hey, are we going to talk about how this guy abuses women?
Are we?
Hey, Netflix, I noticed you just announced the Orc movie from The Bad Man. Why did you let The Bad Man make the Orc movie?
Can we talk about that?
And then everybody was like,
oh, yeah, by the way,
are we doing this? Are we doing this?
Okay, because if we're doing it.
Let's go.
And it is, I won't discredit that it is difficult to be the first person.
No, particularly if you don't have enough standing.
Yeah.
There is a thing, like, and this is one of the reasons why victims are so frightened all the time, is they're like, hey, if I do this, is it going to destroy me?
Right.
Because it can.
Oh, yeah.
Because it can. And that's not something that victims should be afraid of.
No, absolutely not. But that's something that I think that like, especially every like femme presenting person has had to think about truly and honestly at some point in their lives of like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
And that sucks.
And a lot of people that particularly are in the industry, I mean, any industry. I think we just see it because we're in this particular entertainment sphere.
Right.
But it's in every industry where it's like, I have to smile and ignore all these horrible things until I'm powerful enough to change it.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're lucky, you get powerful enough to change it.
Yep.
So that was what was going on with Cody Ko.
All right, your quick catch up on Brooke Schofield before we head back into other news, before we leave the internet realm of it.
All
right, last Monday, I caught Anthony up on the Brooke Schofield Clinton Kane drama. Your TLDR for it was Clinton Kane made up an entirely new person, dated Brooke Schofield for somewhere between 3 to 6 months, depending on what technicality you want to go on. She made a 11-part series exposing all of his lies because he decided to try and use her to promote his new song. He brought it up and said like, when you've been over it for 2 years and your ex won't stop yapping about it anyways, download my new song. And she was like, okay, he's not Australian. His mom's not dead. He doesn't really have a sibling and he's not from the place he says he's from. He doesn't have the background he said he did. He lied to me. And let me tell you all of it, right? So he's been faking an Australian accent this whole time on the internet. He's also been going in interviews saying different ways that his mother tragically passed away. His mother's alive.
Yeah. Was that one of his shows?
Fully alive.
Yeah.
Now people have spoken to, and he has admitted that his mother is in fact alive. And the claim that he made, which he then removed the video about, was that it was actually his best friend's mother that died, that was like a mother to him, that he knew for 1 year.
Didn't he also say—
1 year! there, everybody.
Didn't he also say that it was like his mom was dead to him because they had some sort of beef? Like he did like 2 different.
Oh, yeah. Well, because throughout the time that he was telling people his mom died, once it was from COVID, once it was from falling down the stairs, once she had gone into a coma from an accident.
Yeah, sure.
And he never stuck by that. But what's so interesting, what the update is, right? Okay. Is at the time we're like, how's he gonna, what do you say at this point?
What do you do?
Right?
What do you do?
He makes 50 videos and deletes half of them.
Okay.
And in it, he somehow addresses nothing.
Totally hinged behavior.
He sits down in this hotel room, okay? And he says things like, okay, well, addressing Brooke Schofield's lies, part 1. She says we were pulled over and I gave a fake ID to a cop on the way to Joshua Tree, which is how she found out I was lying about my age. That was incorrect. We were pulled over on the way back from Joshua Tree. So I don't know why she would lie about that.
So it turns out that she's been lying about everything.
I'm not joking. He literally was like, yeah, I did lie about my age, but why is she lying about when we got pulled over? It was on the way back from Joshua Tree.
He said,
dude, we didn't spend every day together. In 60 days, we only spent 37 days together.
What? Was he using an app?
He literally
was he using an app?
Created a Google Calendar. He created a Google Calendar of all of the days that they spent together.
No.
To be like, we weren't together every day because one of her claims was like, he would never let me go home. He would like, keep me there. Yeah. And he took everything so incredibly literally where she was like, I'm not saying, Alex is in here. He's here. You can hear the giggling in the background because he didn't. She's not saying he kidnapped me and kept me in his basement.
No.
She's saying he would make me feel horribly guilty. He would cry when I was going to leave. He would text me constantly and make me feel like I couldn't go home or be around my friends or do anything else.
Did he make this calendar from memory? Or was
he says from text messages of like when she came and when she went home. But he would mark days she slept over as only one day and wouldn't count the next day on it too, even though he would say, well, yeah, she slept over that night. He also was like, she's saying we dated for 6 months. We only dated for 3 months. Now, sure, there's a photo.
Is he a hotel? He has a checkout time?
Correct.
He's like, no, we don't count days. We count nights.
Yeah.
It's number of nights.
Right. And he said, well, we didn't date for 6 months. We only dated for 3. And he really, really, really stressed that point. Now, he's like, sure, she posted a photo of us making out in March.
Somebody else?
Oh, he was hooking up with everybody. He was cheating on her the whole time. And that part he also admitted to. He was like, yeah, I totally did do that. My bad. But the thing is that he's like, yeah, there's a photo of us making out in March. But as you can see from this text message here, I didn't ask her to be my girlfriend until this date. And she's like, yeah, I'm referring to the whole time we were seeing each other. It doesn't matter.
Your behavior doesn't depend on what day you decided to call me something.
Yeah, this is how long we were seeing each other and how long you were telling me your mom was dead and pretending to be from Australia.
Hey, man.
And he only has an accent for maybe 10% of these videos.
Of course. Of course.
He comes in and out of it as he always does. Every once in a while, he remembers to say mate or something just to bring it back around, which is so wild.
He says shrimp on the bobby.
Yeah, he literally does. And every Australian is like, you're a joke, dude. That's not what we sound like.
You're an absolute joke. Somebody in the live studio audience says, I heard he threw a boomerang. It didn't even come back.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He's never even met a koala.
That should be, yeah. What?
He tries to have a gotcha moment with Brooke because in one of the videos, she's talking about like what he had said about his mother, right? And where he was from and where he grew up, which he claims is Australia.
Sure.
And then he posts this thing of like, I lived in the Philippines, I lived in all of these different places, and one of them was Australia. Yeah. I count anywhere that I lived for more than a year to be, a place I'm from.
Cool, but you only say one and you only have an accent from one?
Correct. And she phrased it as like, he's not from Australia. This is where his mom lives. I don't believe she even speaks English. And he's like, doesn't even speak English. Wow, Brooke. And she does. And it's like, that is not what she was talking about. The point is that you were being so dishonest about who your mother was. It wasn't like, wow, this woman doesn't even speak English. He tries so hard to have these gotcha moments.
Some like 9-year-old arguing with a teacher bullshit.
1,000%.
This is some like, I've caught you.
Funny.
No, but you haven't caught anything.
Yeah. And like, I don't
This guy's
recall what
wild.
other language he speaks, but she's like, I didn't even know he spoke this other language. And he's like, yeah, do you expect to know everything about someone in 3 months? Why does it scare you so much that I'm bilingual? Why does it scare you that I speak another language? Trying to act like she's racist for being like, I didn't know he spoke another language. And that like English may or may not have been his first language too.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, that's things you would know about somebody after you see each other for 6 months straight.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, if there's one thing we've learned, you can't post through it.
No, dude.
You can't post your way out of it.
He posted so many screenshots of their conversations that are so damning to him on accident. Like things where he is saying weird shit to her that is awful and terrible. He did nothing for himself and addressed nothing that anyone cared about because everybody was like, yeah, but explain the mom thing. Like explain the mom thing because he deleted that video, so most people didn't even see that one.
Yeah, but you said your mom was dead,
right?
Multiple times in multiple interviews.
Also said he had a brother that was dead. Never mentions the brother in any of these videos, and nothing. He addresses absolutely nothing anyone cares about, and instead spends all the time being like, "Well, she said that I, lied on this date when actually I lied on this date." So, checkmate, Brooke.
Hey, I guess you got her, dude. I guess you got her.
I guess.
Clinton Kane playing that 4D chess.
Comments off on every single video.
Of course.
Obviously.
Wild.
So incredibly funny. That is your update, is that he said, all right, I know exactly what to do.
I'm going to insult your grammar. This will fix it. If she's telling the truth, then why is her grammar bad?
Yeah.
No, dude. No.
And she just kept posting photos laughing. Like she just kept posting videos and shit on her TikTok, just laughing, just having a good time. He did lie about his age. He agrees to that. He did cheat on her. He agrees to that. He did say his mother was dead when she isn't dead.
His accent is clearly fake.
He isn't from Australia.
He did not grow up in Australia. None of that stuff is real.
So anyways, that's your update on Brooke Schofield and Clinton Kane.
I want to get us out of the horrible man mud.
Okay.
By showing you this, I'm going to show you
mud.
I'm going to show you this video.
Okay.
I'm going to show you this video. I think that Instagram and TikTok man on the street interviewers are
the worst thing ever.
Probably one step below paramecium in like the level of evolution.
Yeah.
I think they're awful.
Yeah, absolutely the worst thing to happen. I can't believe that man on the street is back.
Yeah.
I thought it would have died with like Kasim G.
Listen, there are people that can do it well. Billy Eichner did it.
Sure. It's a different scenario than a TikTok man on the street person.
That's the thing.
It's somebody who's like, hi, I have a team behind this and we think through this and we're not just trying to like.
No.
There's like that one guy who does it at Trump rallies that's really funny.
Yeah, Jordan Klepner.
Yeah.
There are people that do it really, really well.
Okay.
But it makes people think that it's easy. And it's basically a genre of sober dudes who are sober with comedian or comic in their name.
Woof.
Going out at like 2 a.m. And grabbing whatever drunk, attractive woman they can grab to ask questions and make them look silly or stupid.
Guys, Hawk Tuah wasn't funny, and I'm going to stand by that.
It was not funny.
It wasn't funny. You have to experience one funny thing in your life if you thought that was like peak comedy.
It was cute enough where if it went by in my feed, I would have been like, huh.
But like, I beg you to experience one funny thing in your life.
But I want to show you this. With that being said, I want to show you this clip. We got to watch the whole thing. I love this woman.
Okay.
I love what went down in this interview. Can we bring it up, Alex, with audio?
All right.
What would you do if you won the lottery?
Grab it. Food all over her hand, too.
Oh.
Open a buffet.
What?
Hell yeah, girl.
Open a buffet.
Hell yeah.
Open up you answer.
She's getting food all over the mic.
They didn't give you any napkins?
Oh, you can eat Chinese food.
That's it.
Hell yeah,
That's the clip.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's the clip. I watched that clip like 5 times in a row. She is like mouthful of food, and he literally asked her, You can tell this is a dream that she has.
She's having a wonderful time.
She has this dream.
This dream has maybe only existed for an hour. She just came from a buffet, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's the most she's ever felt.
Yeah.
And she's trying to swallow the food and explain to him. He's just like, what are you talking? She's like, a buffet. I would open all you can eat Chinese food.
I love that. The best part is he's barely in it.
He's barely in it. And that's the best way for these dudes to be.
Yeah.
Like, she was just so funny and genuine.
Grabbing
she
the
was
mic.
like, I know I have too much food in my mouth to speak, but I have to get this
But I have
out.
to hold on to this microphone. You can't take this away
Don't
from me
take
until
it
I say
away.
what I need to say.
It's, listen, I have the best idea.
Yeah.
All you can eat Chinese food. Think about it. Think about it.
I think she knows that Chinese buffets exist.
No, I know, but she's just like,
I'm going to have my own.
this is the most
it's
perfect thing I could do.
It's the best thing that could exist, and I that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else would you do? It's like she was going to say it to him and he would be like, of course.
Obviously. Wow.
Like it was going to click for all of us.
Right.
Like, why aren't we doing this?
Yeah. When she said it and he didn't react like that, she's like, all you can eat Chinese food. What part of this are you missing? What don't you get? What part of this don't you understand?
It's like she was Einstein trying to explain relativity.
Yeah.
For the first time. He's like, no, I figured it out. Space-time. It bends. Space-time.
Catch up.
You're not getting it.
Catch up.
You're not getting it.
Good for her.
Hey, do you like food?
Hey, what a fantastic segue. Everybody, this episode of It's Too Early is sponsored by Factor. You can use our link, you can use our code, and I encourage you to do both to get a sweet little deal. You can get 50% off your first box, 20% off the next 4 boxes. This is for new customers. Genuinely, I ate like a king last time we did Factor.
It was great.
I had a whole week of meals.
The box.
I never have a whole week of meals.
No, I'm 3 days into the week and I'm like, well, I guess I'm having a chocolate croissant for dinner
Yeah,
because there's food in my fridge and I'm not gonna do anything with it.
absolutely not.
I'm gonna cook it like
I
a
had
caveman.
soup twice yesterday. In July. That's how I feed myself otherwise, which is why it's really great. When we get these, you can sign up right down there and get yourself a sweet deal on it. You can choose how many meals you want. You can choose what kind of meals you want. You get to pick from the menu. And I'll say, as a really, really, really picky eater, there are even Saige-friendly meals on there. I am able to pick out an entire week of meals that I will actually eat.
We shockingly always find stuff for her.
Yeah. It's really great. You can choose how many you want per week. So if you live with other people, you can do a larger box of them. You can both or whatever, depending on if you want it just for dinners or for lunches and dinners. They have all kinds of different things. I'm going to take a look right now and select some meals for us.
Select some meals. Let's do it.
do it. All right, I'm going with first just the chef's choice.
Okay.
Here, you get to choose. There's keto, flexitarian, calorie smart, protein plus, vegan, and veggie. And those are just like, hey, here's what we're gonna suggest for you.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on. Yeah, 1 second. Let me type in my email. Let me check it. Let me type in my email.
I love that all those things are there because the moment they're there, I do like to choose from them, even though I will only eat a chocolate croissant. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I'm only going to eat a chocolate croissant, but the moment I have the ability to choose a perfect diet, I'm just like, great, I'll do that.
Obviously, if
I'll
it's
do it.
there and it's just as easy, I'll do it. Otherwise, I will never, ever, ever do that.
It's either perfect diet or chocolate croissant.
Right.
There's no in between.
No, absolutely not.
What would be in between?
These are all things that you can throw in the microwave or you can throw in a pan if you want to upgrade it a little bit. I feel like when I throw them in the microwave when I'm in a rush, they're just really great and that's awesome and that's quick, fantastic food.
We actually had the microwave lasagna last time.
Yeah, we did.
Which is a minefield if you've ever eaten microwave food.
We chose the riskiest possible option for that.
And
truly.
it was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good. And we made it here in the office microwave, which I think we found on the side of the road.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. That's not firsthand, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you the office microwave ain't firsthand.
The office microwave is maybe a little haunted and broken, and we still had a perfect lasagna.
Yeah, we did. I was genuinely shocked by how good it was, like not even gonna lie. We chose something that was like, let's do something that would be absolutely silly at 9 a.m. And I was really surprised when I was like, actually, that's really good. Like even when we tried to make a bit, it was good.
It's a breakfast lasagna.
Yeah,
they do it all the time in Italy.
Yeah.
Garfield does it every Monday.
Every Monday. All right, let's take a look at this together. I'm just double checking to make sure it's not showing anywhere what it's shipping to. We are ready.
Okay.
Speaking of breakfast ones, look at this. A pancake bundle.
Get a bundle.
Look at all these pancakes.
Get a pancake bundle.
I didn't know pancakes came in a bundle.
Yeah.
A frittata bundle?
I thought they came in a stack, but apparently multiple stacks of pancakes is a bundle. It's a murder
That's
of pancakes.
That's awesome. So you go here, you can edit your meals, you can select these, you can also make modifications to them, which I really enjoy. You can choose different types of proteins in a lot of the things, depending on the meal.
Yeah.
You can go through, you can add like one extra if you see one more thing that you're like, ooh, I'd actually like that one and I chose a 6-meal box. I want this 7th meal.
If
you just add it.
If you only eat one kind of meat, you can do that.
It's me.
Saige can go to any of these meals and basically be like, no. You forget that I only eat chicken.
Exactly. Pretty much. Okay. I want to say this might be what we tried. No, this is different. Nona's Sunday beef bolognese. We got her lasagna last time specifically. But like there is always, and here's a safe food for me, chicken and one vegetable, safest meal on the planet. Best option. Always the best thing. Herb crusted chicken. That comes with what? Green beans or asparagus?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
And
Add to my
and
box.
a mashed potato?
Thank you. Bless. There's lots of good pasta options. And here's what I'll say. I'm always trying to think about like what heats well in the microwave. Pasta's solid in the microwave. Solid. Genuinely solid. So I try to think about like what I can grab quickly. Whenever I have time to throw them in a pan, I'm like, a chef.
Oh,
a real chef
my
meal.
stars.
Oh my goodness.
What am I, the bear?
Right? Anthony, what kind of meal are you feeling?
I always love something light.
Okay.
If you can find something light, if there's like a light fish or if there's a chicken. If there's a light chicken, we can do that.
A light chicken?
Yeah.
I'm like, you can have a fish in here.
I can have a fish?
You can have one fish.
If they've got a fish.
Yeah. Do you want a fiesta salmon?
I love a party salmon.
Oh, all right.
It's salmon and a party.
Yeah. There's also creamy bacon shrimp and sun-dried tomato pesto.
Ooh, I like that too.
Have a little shrimp.
I love a little shrimp.
Yeah. There's lots of good options in here, lots of good substitutions. I just chose a 6-meal box, which is great. It's just great. That's it.
Great.
I'm going to pick out the rest of our meals. We'll have a second part of this where we'll probably have another inappropriate breakfast food. How do you feel about the delivery? I feel like every time I get these, there's a million things that I have to break down. It comes in one box. It does have the little slip covers on it. I like that it's cardboard and not as much plastic.
Yeah.
But the freezer things that come in it are the best ice packs.
They really are.
They're fantastic.
I keep them.
Yeah.
I think that like I have gotten some other meal delivery services before, and I will say that Factor has the least amount of waste of the ones that I've tried.
Yeah.
And I've tried a few.
It's really, really genuinely good. And I was surprised. As a picky eater, when we took on the first ones that were like a meal service, I was like, it's probably not going to be anything that's like me friendly, but you know. And I was very surprised by how well fed I was for the week. So, hey, supporting the sponsors, doing things like checking out, just getting a box for 50% off, seeing if you like it, directly supports the show.
Yeah.
The more people that download it, the more often people go, hey, this show has value and we will continue to give them money.
Yeah. Even if it's something where you're a little interested but not sure, use that 50% off box and see if it's for you.
Yeah. That is for first-time customers specifically, first-time using your emails specifically on the website. So, you know, let me see. Is Factor in Canada? Hold on. Because I don't remember.
I have no idea.
I'm checking.
Yeah.
They do deliver throughout Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island, with plans to expand to other parts of Canada. So
there you go.
I don't know if that's your part of Canada, but there's parts that you could get it in.
I'd say if you're outside of the continental United States or Canada, give it a look on their site.
Yeah. I want to say it might just be the U.S. and Canada.
Give it a look and see.
So apologies to our international BBs, but thank you for sponsoring this episode. You can click the link that's popping up in the description, use the code, do all of those things so you get that sweet deal and support the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, a little more news.
A little more news.
We got more. We got time.
Yeah. I want to talk about this best video games of all time list.
All right, let's talk about it.
I want to talk about it. This is somebody that on the gaming subreddit
Okay.
posted something yesterday that's like, I aggregated more than 700 greatest games lists
Okay.
and crunched the data
Okay.
to find the actual greatest games of all time.
All right.
And they left like, they put down how they aggregated the data, what the weighting was, what the algorithm was. What they basically did is lists are weighted according to their age. Newer lists are slightly favored because obviously as you get newer, all of the games exist.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So they weighted that a little bit more.
Okay.
Weighting is applied that penalizes publications for repeating themselves across multiple lists.
Okay.
That prevents the most prolific publications from dominating the rankings.
Okay.
The program tracks how often each game appears ahead of every other game on lists that they were both eligible for.
Okay.
And then takes that into account in the algorithm.
Okay.
It does a lot of stuff. The matchups on the resulting table are then rigorously cross-referenced to determine which games performed the best overall.
Huh.
In short, the games at the top are the ones that consistently beat other highly ranked games while rarely losing to others.
Okay.
And they have created not just a list, but a site where you
Whoa.
can break down all of this data.
That is acclaimedvideogames.com.
Yeah. You can look at every single list on its own.
Uh-huh.
You can look at every single year.
Wow.
You can look at all list types, best of the year, best of the decade, best of whatever. You can do all of this stuff.
Cool. It's pretty well thought through.
Yeah. According to this math, here are the top 10 video games of all time.
All right, let's go.
What do you think is number one? What would you put at number one? What's your favorite? What do you think is the top?
Okay, because I'm like, I already looked. I know what's actually number one.
Okay.
I know what I would put at number one. I would say Skyrim.
Skyrim?
Skyrim would come in at number one for me. Now, I know what they're basing it on, and I know that review scores are going to be a little funky because Skyrim's had its problems from launch and over the years. But when I think of, the reason I say Skyrim, even though there are games I play more, I think about the times that I'm willing to repurchase it. I think about the place it holds that is special and unique. What has come from it in video games. That's what I'd personally put it.
And reviews don't count as much as, like, reviews aren't in this. It just takes best of the year lists and things like that.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about early Skyrim reviews.
Yeah.
It takes best of the year and best of the decade. Skyrim is number 10 on this list.
I'm so glad it made the list. Christina just jumped in the chat. Hi, Christina. Said, where's Candy Crush ranked?
Surprisingly, not finding Candy Crush.
Messed up.
Really weird.
Left out.
Really strange.
I will say, I bet mobile games are not factored into this, and it really would change the game if they factored in mobile.
Well, I wonder how many times mobile games make best of the year lists.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, mobile games don't make best of the year lists, even though sometimes they really should.
I think they should.
I think they should.
There are
but
certain
we've
games,
relegated mobile games to being girly, and people don't take girly things seriously.
Yeah, or they're girly, or they're distractions while you're doing something else. They're thought of as like, I'll just play a little mobile game. It's not serious.
They're continually thought of as a lesser game, and there's some fantastic mobile games out there. And I will not
if we
hear
were really
otherwise.
doing a top video games of all time, you would be surprised how many of them would be like find the object or cut the rope.
Yeah.
But the number one of all time is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
That makes sense.
The leg of Zeg, Saige.
It is such a uniting game. Everyone agrees that Breath of the Wild is a great game. I don't think I have ever heard anyone say Legend of Zelda, the Breath of the Wild isn't a great game.
I'm a little surprised, honestly.
Really?
I wonder if these algorithms are weighted a little too much towards recency.
Yeah.
Because when I look at the top few, there does seem to be, not a ton of recency bias, actually.
No, honestly, most of these are pretty old.
But the second one is The Last of Us.
Okay. I think that makes sense to be up there too. I wouldn't have placed it in my personal top 10, but I totally get it.
Yeah, I wonder how much that one is going to stand the test of time as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting to think about because I think it's more story-based than anything else.
Yeah.
And as more and more games like start to tell really like interesting, heart-wrenching stories like
Right.
that and push technology, I wonder if some of those won't climb up because of like how relevant they become.
Yeah. I think it makes sense in that it was kind of the first of its kind. It did something new for video games.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Tetris. Tetris.
I'm actually surprised that Tetris has made a lot of games of the year lists.
Tetris.
You know, like after the 80s.
Everybody loves Tetris though.
I agree. But like if you're going by games of the year lists, like how many years do you put in Tetris in?
Well, it's sneaky because if Tetris had come out today, Tetris would have come out as a mobile game.
Yeah.
And so I wonder.
And it is.
I wonder.
Yeah.
But because it came out on, major consoles at the time, I think it gets thrown in there. Number 4, Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 makes a lot of sense. You want to talk about a story game that stood the test of time?
Yeah.
Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Half-Life 2 has influenced gaming and gaming culture more than like maybe anything.
Yeah.
Maybe any modern 3D game, except for a couple of these next modern 3D games, which
True.
I think should be above Half-Life 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one sits a little bit high because I think, hey, can I be honest? I think that gamers feel a little bit of an obligation to talk about some of these games to like be considered a real gamer.
Yeah. And I think because these come from best of the year lists, I think there are publications that go, if we don't include this,
Yeah, exactly.
people are going to riot.
Number 5 is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That means this is the only franchise that has 2 in the top 10. Zelda, baby.
I freaking love Zelda.
That's awesome.
Number 6, one that's one of near and dear to your heart, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Love The Witcher 3. It's a fantastic game. Makes total sense to me. I am surprised that The Witcher 3 is coming in over Skyrim.
Same. And
Because
that's
I feel like Skyrim walked so that The Witcher could run.
and I wonder if, like I'm saying, I wonder if that recency that's built into the
Is
algorithm
weighting it pretty heavily.
might be a little too weighted.
Yeah.
Because I think I own Skyrim like literally on 5 platforms.
Yeah.
I own The Witcher on like 1,
Same. Yeah.
you know?
And I
And
think
I
The Witcher 3 is a fantastic game.
No,
It
listen,
owns.
we're talking about the greatest of the great.
Exactly.
I think they're both wonderful. I'm not a big Witcher fan, but I see why people enjoy it.
Right.
But I think maybe Skyrim should be up there. Number 8 is Resident Evil 4, which I agree with.
Yeah.
For me, that's the best Resident Evil.
So I don't align with most people on
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7 is by far my favorite Resident Evil and the only one that I really love.
Resident Evil 7 was really good.
I love Resident Evil 7. It's the only one that is a pure horror game and less of an action horror, in my opinion. And I love it. I think 4 is a great game.
Yeah.
But like, I'll pick up 7 first any day.
Really.
Any day.
No, I can always go back to 4. 8, I felt like, listen, we love Dommy Mommy.
Yeah, it's fun.
And it was pretty fun, but it wasn't it was no 7.
Sure.
Number 9, BioShock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
And then number 10, as we said, was the Elder Scrolls. I think this is a good list. And then
Yeah.
right there at 11 is The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
A third Zelda game in the top 11.
You get,
That's
like-
wild.
You start getting into some of the other ones, like it goes Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Shadow of the Colossus, which is
Yeah.
one of mine. I suggest you all check out this list.
I feel like we kind of skipped over Mario 64 at number 7.
Oh yeah, we did.
I think we literally skipped it.
I think we actually skipped
Number
it.
7 was Mario 64. Mario 64 is one of the most influential games ever made. Literally changed gaming as it is. Incredibly important and a fantastic game that's still fun to play.
Yeah.
Now, people are asking about things like Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring. I agree that I think they are too recent to have made enough lists to maintain this.
Yeah.
I think in a few years, absolutely Baldur's Gate 3 will be in the top 10, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason is a lot of games you have to wait to see if they stand the test of time. And I am so certain that Baldur's Gate 3 will.
Next year will be the year that we start seeing Baldur's Gate on best of all time lists.
Yeah.
This year was the year that we started seeing it like on best of the year. Right?
Exactly. So you got to give it a little more time where people are like, hey, this is actually one of the greatest video games literally ever made.
So one of the things that I think is really fun is he also did highest ranked games of each year,
Ooh.
along with the number of games that each year has in the top 1,000.
Elden Ring still did make the top 25.
Yeah, Elden Ring's in
So
there.
where's Baldur's Gate?
Baldur's Gate's got to be somewhere in there.
44?
44.
It'll climb.
It'll grow. It'll grow. 1971,
Okay.
the top game of that year, the first version of the Oregon Trail, which I had no idea was that old.
That's so funny.
1971,
Yeah.
they had, it must have been an all-text version of the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
1972 is Pong.
Okay.
The next few years have no games in the top 1,000. And then you get Breakout,
Okay.
Zork. 1978 is Space Invaders.
All right.
1979, Asteroids. 1980, Pac-Man.
Nice.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
all the ones that you would expect. All the ones that you would expect.
A new fun thing that you can do then is go look for the year you were born and see what it is considered to be the best game of the year you were born. Mine is Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger is the most beloved game of the year I was born, apparently.
That makes sense. You ever
All
played
right.
Chrono Trigger?
No.
I don't know if you'd like it, but it's cool. I don't know if you'd like it, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's really fun to kind of look at the way games have changed over the years. Like 2000 is Deus Ex, the original one for the PC.
That tracks.
2005 is, of course, Resident Evil 4.
Mm-hmm.
2007's BioShock.
Okay.
2009 is Uncharted 2. Uncharted
Wow.
2. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. 2012 is Journey.
Okay.
God, Journey was amazing.
Journey.
God, Journey.
Yeah, correct for 2012.
If you're looking for the list, it is acclaimedvideogames.com. You can look at...
I've linked it in our Discord. Go into the It's Too Early channel. You can go check it out for yourself.
You can look at every single one of these lists. Like I said, you can look at all years. You can look at decades. You can look at miscellaneous. You can even look it up by developers and see how many your favorite developers have.
Oh, that's
in the best.
cool.
Yeah, it's a really great list. The person who did this,
Mhm.
good on you.
That's neat.
Good on you for doing such a service.
It's so funny because when you brought it up in the intro and you're like, I'm most interested in like the way the numbers were crunched, I thought it was going to be bad.
No.
I thought it was going to be like, how did you possibly come to this result?
No, I
kind
think
of list. This is a great list.
it's a great list.
Fantastic list. Big fan of this list.
Yeah, I'm going to be digging into this one for a little while.
Yeah. I think that's neat. I think it's fun to go year by year. I think it's fun to scroll through and see where some of your favorite games are and kind of see if they climb.
Yeah.
I'm curious how this will be updated and how frequently. I hope this gets a lot of attention and has the opportunity to continue being something somebody can put work into.
Nights into Dreams, number 304. Nights into Dreams.
Yeah, because you can just search a game you like.
Yeah, Sonic's dad. Sonic's
All right, hold
dad,
on.
developing games from jail.
All right. Animal Crossing New Horizons is 169. Now, incorrectly, I would say that it is above by 100 the original Animal Crossing, 2001.
Yeah, disagree.
That's 253. Original Animal Crossing is the superior game.
I mean, you
Sorry.
can't, I mean, there's no denying the cultural impact of New Horizons, though.
I know.
That's the problem.
I know.
It came out at the right
It's
point
true.
in time.
I know that the 2001 Animal Crossing was still considered niche and that, you know, the 2020 Animal Crossing did hit a little more of like the mainstream, which was important and mattered to people and a lot more people played it. But I just got to say, the 2001 Animal Crossing was one of the greatest games ever made.
Jet Set Radio, number 359.
Ooh. Alex, you want us to look anything up?
There's no Epic Mickey.
I did
Epic
start. I was
Mickey!
already typing it in for you to check if Epic Mickey had made the list for Alex.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love looking up all my favorite games and seeing where they live.
Yeah. Just, you know, because we were looking at the most popular games of all time, we were talking about Minecraft. Minecraft comes in at 36 on this list.
Cave Story, number 680.
Wow.
Cave Story.
Makes the list.
Cave Story.
GTA 6 was up there.
GTA 6, they already know.
Oh, sorry. I misread it. GTA 5, my bad, was up there. It was at 25.
We got GTA 6 before GTA 6?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. GTA 6 made the list before GTA 6 came out.
Can't
GTA
believe it.
5 is at number 25.
Man, that's wild.
It's a fun little list. I love that it's searchable. It's a well-made website for that reason. It's really neat.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night, number 32.
32, that's really high.
32 makes sense to me. That's exactly
Wow.
where it belongs.
Okay.
That's exactly where it belongs. We love Castlevania Symphony of
Huh.
the Night.
I feel like a lot of the games, like of my genuine favorite games, are not going to make the list. The 1996 Harvest Moon is 746.
Hey, it's there.
It's not my favorite Harvest Moon game.
What's your favorite Harvest Moon?
A Wonderful Life.
Is it there?
No, that's the only one that comes up.
Woof.
It's the only one that comes up. Let's see. Yeah, it's the only one that made the list. Not even in the top 1,000. Not even enough to be considered.
Here's something wild. Here's something wild for you. Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, both on the list, both up very high.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow of the Colossus is in like the top 20 or top 25. Eco is up there within the top 100. The Last Guardian, the third game in the series,
Mm-hmm.
which I love, but let's be real. The busted one that came out 7 years late, 297. That seems high.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. As somebody who loves all of the Team Eco games,
Mhm.
that's a little high.
Yeah.
That's a little high for Shadow for The Last Guardian.
Vampire Anarchy said, is Disney Dreamlight Valley on the list? No. Cozy games are continually left off of best games of the year list, no matter how many people played them.
Stardew's there though,
Sure.
because that's the one.
That's the one that they're like, it's okay for boys to play Stardew.
Yeah.
Boys can love Stardew. That's
Boys
the
can
one.
kiss Leah as a treat.
Exactly. It's just kind of one of those things where like when people do, and that's not the fault of the people who are making this aggregate of the information, but the people who do best of the year lists continually do not factor in games that were like predominantly played by feminine audiences.
Hey,
So you'll see a strong lack of that.
can I say something very real about
may.
this? The Sonic games are ranked entirely too high on this list. Listen,
Yeah.
look, Sonic as a cultural entity,
Important.
I agree with.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog video games
Mhm.
are mostly not good.
Yeah.
The original Sonic the Hedgehog comes in at 88.
Wow.
Number 88. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 110.
Wow. Okay.
That's a little high. Sonic 3 and Knuckles,
Mm-hmm.
458, which is
Yeah.
a bit more where I think Sonic games should live.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
But Sonic 3 should be the highest on that list.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure, 862.
Okay.
Good.
Correct.
Good.
Sonic Adventure 2.
Sonic Adventure 2, that's a great question.
A better game, obviously.
Not on the list.
Wow. Sonic Adventure made the list and not Sonic Adventure 2?
Yeah, the one where they fixed it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there.
That's weird. I'm actually surprised that Portal didn't sit a little bit higher. It's still pretty high, but it sits at 21 on the list. I would have thought Portal would have made it into the top 10.
What's interesting is Portal 2 is at 18.
Why?
You know- Here's what I'm going to say.
Portal 2 is obviously also the better of the Portal games.
It's
but
the
like
better
still saying,
game.
though, I would have thought Portal 2 would have made the top 10.
Yeah, I honestly would have thought Portal would have ranked higher than Portal 2 just because of the impact that it had.
Yeah.
But Portal 2 I do think is the better game.
Yeah.
Although I will say
Mhm.
that Portal 2, unlike the first one, had a couple of like choke points.
Mhm.
Like particularly when you first get outside of the facility and you're starting to use paint,
Yeah.
where it's like there's literally you're looking around, you're like, you are introducing things without explaining them to me.
Right.
And I have no idea where to go from here.
Sure.
Whereas like the original Portal had that, I don't know how to solve this,
Yeah.
but I know that you've given me the tools.
Right.
I think Portal 2 was a little iffier on some of that design.
Yeah.
That's all.
I love Portal 2 because we talked about Crazy Taxi so much like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Crazy-
yeah.
There we go. 431 on the list.
That's high. That's high.
400?
Yeah,
431?
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it was a big game.
There are a lot of video games.
It came
know what I
out
mean?
in
Like-
1999.
Yeah, I know.
And there wasn't that many video games in 1999.
There are a lot.
Probably made a lot of lists that year.
I probably did.
Probably made a lot of lists that year. Just saying. Big for the time.
Big for the time.
Big if true.
Take some time and peruse this list if you will.
Pretty
Share
neat.
some of your favorites and where they land on the list over on the Discord.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Let's find out where our tastes are in comparison to the world's. I already know that my tastes are a little all over the place.
I tried to look for so many games that were not on that list. I tried to search some of my like top 5. Little Nightmares didn't make the list, which
Oh.
I think is a travesty that Little Nightmares,
Little
was
Nightmares
not on
is
more
really
best of the
good.
years. Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2 not on the list. Neither of them. I think those are like I think that horror is a little underrepresented in this, but I know horror is a little niche for roundups of the year lists.
yeah.
So, but I really do think that Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2 are some of the best games ever made.
I think the game that we both agree, I think, is the best horror game ever made, Silent Hill 2.
Mhm.
Number 41. So that's justice for Silent Hill 2.
I'd put it higher, but
Yeah. Silent Hill, though,
Mhm.
448. That's under Crazy Taxi.
whoa,
Crazy Taxi's a little high. Crazy Taxi's a little high.
I would say Silent Hill's a little low.
Crazy
I would say
Taxi's a little
Silent
high.
Hill's a little low.
I don't know.
In that
I don't know.
scenario.
I don't know.
I would say it's that Silent Hill's a little low.
Yo, Proteus is there at 995. What's up?
Right at the very end of the list.
The best of the walking simulators. It truly is.
These are all just a top 1,000. What's the 1,000th game?
The 1,000th game?
Yeah, hold on. Let me check. I'm getting there. It is Wizardry Crusaders of the Dark Savant.
Yeah, Wizardry. Wizardry was like extremely influential on the early RPG scene, particularly in Japan. A lot of like RPG design came from Wizardry.
Okay.
But I think Wizardry sucks.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Never played it. Don't know anything about it.
I think Wizardry sucks and always sucked.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
What? I think they're boring games. What?
I don't even know.
What?
I couldn't tell you, honestly. But that's it. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today and spending your morning with us. Do remember to check out Factor if you want to get yourself a sweet, sweet meal service. You can get a box of food delivered to your door. What better thing could arrive at your door than meals, than just full out meals you don't have to make for yourself? Goodness gracious.
If a meal shows up, that's the happiest I could be.
Happiest I could be is just food delivered to me.
Use that code, support us. It directly supports the show and the channel, and it helps us out quite a lot.
It really does. It genuinely makes a difference, even if you just click through and check it out. If you don't end up doing it, clicking on any of our sponsored links always helps us out, and we appreciate it.
We will be back on Friday with a whole new episode. Order your food before then.
See you then.
Bye.